Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cherry the Geek TV. I'm Joe Vanourney. When a childhood doll became possessed in 1988 by the soul of a serial killer, he went on to become one of horror movies' biggest stars. That doll's name was Chucky. It's 35 years later. He's been the star of 8 films. They're going into the second season of a TV series featuring Chucky. And Chucky is also the focus of a brand new documentary called Living with Chucky, which is going to be screening at Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas, Sunday, September 25th and Thursday, September 29th. And we are joined today by the writer and director of that documentary, Kyra Gardner. Kyra, welcome to Cherry the Geek TV.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So I'm going to start off. I watched the film this morning. And I thought, I'm going to pay you a compliment here, because I thought I was going to be watching a standard retrospective documentary, and it is that. There's that element to it. But about 2/3 of the way into the film, there's a turn, right? And the focus of the film becomes clear. I was not expecting to get emotional watching the documentary about Chucky. And I was near tears. I didn't quite get there. I was almost sobbing. And I wasn't expecting that. So congratulations on making a beautiful, sweet, heartfelt documentary. It's about family. It's about Chucky. It's about the films, but it's also ultimately ends up being about family. Your family, the family of artists who have been involved with the franchise over almost 3 decades, and the family of fans and their relationship with the character. For those that don't know, tell people who you are. Who is your dad? When did Chucky become a part of your life? How old were you? Kind of set up that background.
Sure. My name is Kyra Gardner. My dad is special effects makeup artist Tony Gardner, who has worked on movies like Return of the Living Dead, Darkman, most recently Zombieland 2, and things like that. But Chucky has been a character that he came on to do in the Child's Play franchise, starting with Seed of Chucky. Kevin Yeager was the original puppeteer when I was 4 years old. So I don't know a life that doesn't have Chucky involved in it in any way. I refer to him as my little older brother because he's smaller than me, but technically he is older than me. And my first experience with growing up with it was, I think I was 4, and my dad brought the dolls home, and I was obviously traumatized from seeing a scarred up Chucky and Tiffany on my living room couch, but that's kind of my thing.
So you've grown up with Chucky. He's been part of your life since you were 4. What was the genesis of this documentary? When did you decide that you wanted to tell the story of how he's affected you and your family? And I know you did a short film that was kind of the seed of this as well. When, kind of explain that process of how the idea came, and then how that short film got turned into this feature-length documentary.
Sure. I went to Florida State University for directing and film production. And it's one of the few film schools that actually has a whole semester dedicated to the documentary genre. And so we had seen a few reference films. I really liked Searching for a Sugar Man and Stories We Tell. I hated the documentary genre, and I say that kicking myself, my past self, because it's so interesting. And the way that those 2 documentaries did it, it was a lot more involved and personal. And I was like, wow, I didn't know documentaries could be filmed this way. And so those were kind of my reference points of what I wanted to set out to do. And I wanted to tell something personal. So I thought I would make it on my dad and that childhood, because not every other child came home to a realistic fake dead body in their living room every Sunday, and a teacher of mine pointed out that I should kind of have a focus on a subset of that maybe. And he pointed out that I do refer to Chucky as my brother. And he was like, I would pay to watch something on that. And that's kind of how that progressed, was that it was a focus of my dad and a thing that has been with me in my life for the entirety of it, pretty much. So I did that short film, and coincidentally, it was the same year that Cult of Chucky was coming out. So it opened for Cult of Chucky at Fright Fest, as well as Toronto After Dark. And I really got to experience being way more involved with the Chucky family than I had originally been. So it was like, because of the documentary, I became even more involved with this family, which was so wonderful. And so I really wanted to expand on that, since I was sitting on so much footage and the fan response was really positive. I was like, this franchise deserves a freaking full length thing. And I think if anybody should do it, maybe me.
So you got all the big players from the franchise: Brad Dourif, Don Mancini, David Kirschner, Jennifer Tilly. Was everybody pretty receptive to the idea of working with you?
Yeah, everybody seemed to be really, really positive. You know, there were a few people I still wish I could have gotten, but COVID provided to be a hassle and safety concerns. And then, but yeah, everybody was pretty much game for it, you know. And then I got later players in the franchise later on while making the documentary, like John Waters, who was so excited to be a part of it, and I wasn't sure if he would go for it, but he has some of the best lines in the documentary, I think, which is so fun. And yeah, I think everybody was kind of excited to, I don't want to speak for them, but I think they were excited to have something that really was dedicated to them, you know.
Besides the players of the franchise, you've got other people kind of contributing as well. People like Marlon Wayans and Lynn Shaye, Phineas and Ferb creator Dan Povenmire. How did are these friends of yours? People you worked with? People worked with your dad? How did they all come on board?
Yeah, my dad worked on There's Something About Mary, which I was a baby for that, but he's known Lynn for a very long time. And I met her at the Three Stooges premiere when I was younger, because I was a little orphan in that movie. And she was there and we talked, and I asked if she would maybe want to be a part of this. And she was super excited to do it. And Lynn Shaye is such a sweetheart. So of course you got to have Scream Queen royalty in the film. And then the other players, yeah, it's kind of just people who I could personally reach out to, rather than going through agents and having to deal with that thing. It was like, who could I reach out to that would have an interesting perspective? And Dan Povenmire obviously is a voice actor who voices an evil character, so to speak, Dr. Doofenshmirtz and things like that. And, you know, Abigail Breslin is a child actor and horror as well. And then Marlon Wayans is so great because you can't make horror parodies without loving the horror genre. So having him in as well was super lovely. It was kind of just like, who do I have access to and who do I think would be a good fit for this?
You say in the film that you made the film because you've grown up with this group of people who was kind of like your family that you've never met. Yeah. And you wanted to get to know them. You grew up seeing them on screen. Your dad's worked with them, probably talks about them at home. Yeah, that was one of the reasons you made the film, to connect with them. Now that the film's out, you've made it. Did the experience meet your expectations, exceed your expectations? What was it like gaining that family, becoming part of it?
Awesome. As it's like no longer these movies are this thing that I feel separate from, and these people that I don't know. Now there's, you know, a personal connection, and I feel kind of included and a part of it, which is really lovely. Like Don Mancini, especially, and David Kirschner were just names that I was hearing all the time, and I was like, who are these guys? And then to, you know, go to Don and David's house and really have a chance to connect and meet with them was such like a full circle moment, especially now. I just saw Don like 2 weekends ago, shooting some stuff for Chucky season 2 promo, which was so lovely. And he was so nice and congratulatory about the doc. And it's like, wow, I feel really involved with these wonderful human beings now, which was so nice. And especially even other people that my dad, it's so interesting. I feel a little bit more connected than my dad sometimes, because, you know, they have their doll part of it and they don't maybe get to connect as much with, say, Christine Elise or Alex Vincent, because they're not as long on the show as, you know, Dawn show running is. And so now it's really nice to, you know, I message with Christine on Instagram, and it's just like, I really feel a part of the family now. And it's so cool that just because I went to do this documentary, now I feel involved in it rather than separated from it.
You end the film with a little segment on the fan culture, the fans that love Chucky, have the tattoos, go to the conventions. The cast talks about how they're all great people and they're very welcoming and kind when they meet them at horror conventions. Two-part question. Number one, I know your film's screened at a few festivals already. What has been the fan reaction to your film? And then what do you think is it about Chucky that's appealed to this fan base over the past almost 35 years?
So far, it's really been positive responses from fans. I've had some people come up to me who have a great relationship with their own dad. And the aspect of my dad and Maya's relationship really touched them, or somebody whose parent just actually passed away came up to me and they were crying because it really spoke to them, which is so amazing. As a filmmaker, if I can make you laugh or cry or feel anything, I've done my job. So that was really cool to see. And then to see people who are actually younger than me, say like 18 all the way to like 56 or so, kind of have the same sentiment of, this character means a lot to me. And I really appreciate the documentary and they've enjoyed it. That means a lot because I didn't grow up, in the 80s. I wasn't there when this cultural icon was born, but it's been, my entire life still. And so to satisfy older generation fans and newer generation fans who are maybe just finding Chucky and discovering it, that meant a lot to me because I felt like I did it justice, because it is a 35-year-old franchise and so important to these fans. They're so dedicated. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. No other franchise I feel is as crazy as Chucky fans in the most positive and way as possible. And I think the reason that it's gone on this long is that it is practical. It is a physical doll that you can see the characters interacting with it. It's not CGI still after all these years. And Brad Dourif's personality is so iconic to that performance. And it's the same people, really. I think that's what it is. And obviously that's what the doc is about, but that it's been this same group of people setting out to do this thing that care about it. There are so many people who just want to get their paycheck maybe in Hollywood. And these people really care about the character and the franchise and where it's going. And not only that, as time has gone on, they've progressed. They've gotten gayer over time. And now we have these wonderful transgender characters and LGBTQ members. And it's so nice to see that it's not something that's just stuck in 1988, that it transcends time and it progresses with the times. And now it's transferred formats from movie to TV show, which I think allows Dawn and everybody else to really play with the franchise more so than they were able to prior. And I think you can see that they're having a lot of fun with it.
Well, the film is called Living with Chucky. People can see it this weekend at Fantastic Fest. Any other festivals coming up where people can see it?
It's coming to Screamfest in LA as well on October 15th at 8 p.m. It's actually after Monster Palooza if you're attending that. And I believe James A. Janice, aka Dead Meat on YouTube, will be moderating our Q&A at Screamfest as well.
And I'm sure we'll see it in the near future, streaming somewhere or on physical media. For those that have any interest in the Chucky Child's Play series, I highly recommend it. Like I say, it's more than a retrospective documentary. You're going to get the feels. You're going to get emotional watching it. It's a great job. Kyra, thank you so much for chatting with us today on Cherry the Geek TV, and good luck with the film.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.